Well, welcome everyone. It is March 15th, 2022. Welcome to the Networking for Introverts call. I love that I'm seeing some new faces here. Thank you so much for joining us today. And since we have some new faces, I want to do just a short little introduction with everybody, maybe 1 to 2 minutes. Share your name, where you're coming from, and your favorite food. We'll do that. Or your favorite color, whatever favorite something comes to mind. So how about we'll start with Megan, because you're the first one on my screen.
Hi, I'm Megan. I am in Grand Forks, North Dakota. My favorite food is spaghetti or steak. Yeah, was there a third?
No. I mean, I was just saying your favorite food or favorite whatever came to mind. So
Yeah.
Steak or spaghetti, yummy. So homemade spaghetti sauce?
Sort of. Like Prego, but doctored up.
Yeah. Got to doctor up the cheater sauce, I call it.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us, Megan.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Wendy, you're next up on my screen.
Hi, I'm Wendy. I'm Megan's mama, and I am in New Hampshire. And the best food in the world is ice cream.
Yay. What flavor?
Oh, well, I am a Magnum double caramel ice cream bar addict.
Ah.
If you haven't tried it, you're missing out.
Lovely. I actually went with some friends to get some ice cream last night, but I don't do dairy. So the only flavor they had that was non-dairy was like a raspberry pomegranate, I don't know, sorbet. It was delicious. Normally I don't really like that berry, the dark berry flavors, because they are usually like a fake, that, I don't know. I like the fresh berries, but I don't like those fake smell or taste to berries. But it was really good and fresh.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right, Richard, you are next. You have to unmute.
Sorry. Hey, my name is Rich. I reside in Bolingbrook, Illinois, just outside of Chicago. And I think my favorite color, it's actually a three-way tie between red, black, and gold.
And what do those colors stand for?
Well, I like the black and gold because to me, like organizations that have tradition and companies that have tradition use a lot of the black and gold.
Okay.
And the red to me is like being direct. It highlights everything. So I like red.
Very nice. Thank you, Richard.
Of course.
All right, Victoria, are you able to unmute and chat with us?
Yes, I was just filling up my water bottle and I was like, I'm really thirsty. I've been on calls all morning. So
okay. So we were just doing some introductions. We were just saying our name, where we're from, and either our favorite food or favorite color.
Ooh, okay.
Or both. You could say both color and food.
Okay, so Victoria Dersano. I'm living in Lisle, so west suburbs of Chicago. And favorite food, favorite color. Favorite color, probably red. However, it's not like a color I would choose to like decorate everywhere with or like have walls painted red. It's a very intense color, but I just enjoy the color in general. It's very like vibrant and life oriented. And favorite food, peanut butter, probably peanut butter. Yeah. It goes, I pretty much eat it with everything and anything.
Yum.
Literally.
And you even put it on your face, right?
I put it on my face before, yep. I smelled like it for, I think, like at least 7 days. I could not get the smell out of my body.
Oh my gosh. It's so true though. Like when you eat peanut butter or really any nut or seed butter, it like gets on your face and you can smell it every time you move.
Yeah. Yeah. It was I hope no one around me had a peanut allergy because that would have been really not good.
Yeah, right. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Patricia, are you able to unmute? Yay! You have your tower garden in the back.
I do.
Welcome.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Sorry, I'm making lunch for myself. I'm starving here. And we talk about
Okay.
food.
Yeah, I know. I like to talk about food.
So, Patricia, I'm from Chicago. Was born and raised in Poland. And you asked about the favorite color, I think, recently green. I think everything is in green. I'm buying it. Food. I would say I love Indian kitchen. I love Mexican kitchen, Thai kitchen. I don't really have like a cravings for one item I would go for. So depends of the mood and time of the year. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I'm glad that you were able to join us as well.
Thank
So
you.
I'm Sabrina. I'm the host and leader of the Networking for Introverts group. And my favorite food, well, I just love food. Like I'm in Arizona until this evening, and I've been here almost a week. And when I spend time with my parents here, or anytime I spend time with my parents, my mom is just a great cook. And together we make some awesome things. So it's just been like a food fest this whole week, and I just love food, and I'm always excited, like, oh, it's time to eat again, yay. So my favorite food is like the genre, or what do you call it, the type of food is Mexican food, but really just, I don't know, I do love flavors like Indian flavors and spices like cinnamon and ginger and things like that. And I do love peanut butter, just like Victoria, but I don't eat peanuts as much because peanuts are rough on the digestive system. So I usually will go to sunflower butter, and that's the next best thing. Although I just saw a recipe, this is completely off Introverts topic, but I saw a recipe for, what is it called? Granola butter. Has anyone heard of that? Victoria, have you heard of that? So apparently they take gluten-free oats with, like, it could be, olive oil or coconut oil and maybe some maple syrup and cinnamon, and they blend it to like a butter. And I guess that would be if you're sensitive to nuts or seeds. So you would do the oats instead. So I'm like, I might need to try that.
That sounds delicious. Let me know if
Right?
you do, and then post the recipe into my group because I want to
Okay.
try that.
Will do. Yeah. Once I get home, I think I'm going to try that. All right. Well, let's jump in to the topic for today. So a lot of us are introverts and maybe even a little bit of an extrovert or a little bit of both, which is called ambivert. So I want to just go over a few of the definitions, or not a few of the definitions, but the definitions of each, and let you know that there are 4 types of introverts. And then we can talk about maybe what type that you are now, and has it changed throughout your life. So I believe that, I don't know Megan very well yet, or Patricia very well yet, but I know that the few people that are on here are take charge leaders, but we are still a little reserved, and that's okay. It's one, like extrovert or introvert or ambivert is not better than the other. It's all about understanding who we are and who the people around us are, especially our closest family members, friends, but coworkers or whoever you are in contact with. So you want to understand yourself, but you also want to understand them, because if you are leading a team, or if you're leading a coaching call, something similar to this, you want to understand that not everyone is going to be excited and shouting and raising their hand and wanting to speak up the whole time. So I like to open up this call and throughout to have people share. And I appreciate you all sharing already. So if you're not comfortable, you can just let me know in the chat, or if you want to just use the chat instead of speaking up, that's fine too. But just going over a few different things for introverts, that 25 to 40% of leaders are introverted. And the reason there's a big range is because I found a few different articles. One said 25, and I think the other one said between like 35 and 40%. So I was like, well, I guess the average is like 25 to 40%. So that's a really big deal. That's like influencers on social media, that's professional speakers, that's entrepreneurs, business owners, CEOs. I mean, it's a wide range, but it's just interesting how a lot of the leaders are introverted. And you would never know that. You're like, oh, really? But once you figure out the definition and understand really what an introvert is and the different types of introverts, then you can say, oh, okay, I see that this person is an introvert and I can understand them better. So we have the 4 types of introverts. We have the social introvert, which is what they call the classic form of an introvert. They like small groups and quiet places, and they need some time to be alone to recharge. Then there's the second type of introvert, which is the thinking introvert. And those are the daydreamers, the creative types, and they definitely love to spend time alone in their own thoughts, to be creative and really have that introspection. And that's what helps them to recharge. Then there's the anxious form of an introvert. So that's the really shy person, sometimes awkward when they go out in social situations. And those people definitely love to be alone because that's how they recharge for sure. And then the 4th type of introvert is called the restrained or inhibited introvert. And this is the type of introvert that thinks before acting. So they are the type that when they're waiting in line at the grocery store, the candy bars and the gum, they don't make a split decision to buy that. They are the ones that think before they buy. So they like to do their research and really think about, you know, is this money going to be well spent? They're not impulse shoppers. They are definitely the restrained form of being an introvert. So I just want to open this up and ask you all, well, let me go through the others, the ambiverts and then the extroverts too. And then you can say like, hey, I think I'm this, or I think maybe I'm a combination of these. So an extrovert, we all know what an extrovert is because when they walk into the room, you know that they are an extrovert. They announce it, they're loud, they're boisterous, their presence just takes over the room. So they are the type of people that love to be around people because that's what recharges their energy. I even put in there one that steals or leads the room when they are present. So if you're working in a team with someone and they're the extrovert, they're usually the one that's saying, okay, I'm the leader and I'll delegate out the tasks. Then we have the ambivert, which is basically a little combination of both the introvert and the extrovert. So they have both personalities, maybe like a balance of both types. So the ambivert also reminds me of the social introvert here because I feel like the social introvert, they like to be around people and maybe get a little bit of energy by being around people, but they also like to be alone to recharge. And I believe that I am a social introvert or even an ambivert because I love being around people, but I also like to kind of hang around by myself. Or, you know, I mean, I love these Zoom calls because, you know, you get dressed on top and no one sees your pajama pants on the bottom. So, or your socks, you know, sometimes I wear cute socks, sometimes I wear little fuzzy slippers. So it's kind of nice to be at home. I can still connect with all of you, but still be halfway in my pajamas. But I want to let you know, because some of you don't know me, but when I grew up, I was extremely shy and introverted. So I was the anxious type of an introvert. Growing up, it's really interesting because as a child, I started taking ballet classes at 2.5 years old. And my older sister was already taking classes. And then a few years later, my younger sister started taking classes. And we danced pretty much our whole lives of school. So from like 2.5 till I graduated high school. And I loved being in dance. I loved performing in front of hundreds of people. I loved competitions. I loved all the different workshops that I took. But if you asked me in school to raise my hand or speak up, I would turn red and I'd start sweating and my mouth would dry out and then I would stutter over my words and I felt stupid. Another reason I was that way, I think I gave myself a complex, is because I was held back in the first grade. And when I was held back in the first grade, I just gave myself that complex, like, oh, you're stupid. So I put on the label of you're stupid, you're shy. And that allowed me to not speak up or ask questions. So I feel like I sort of lost out. So I was definitely the anxious form of being an introvert. Victoria, did you want to say something? Oh, it looked like you unmuted. So yeah, definitely I used to be the anxious form, and I took many steps on my own and with others to overcome my shyness. And I wouldn't say overcome my introvertness, but it's transformed a little bit. So like I said, I'm more of a social or even ambivert personality now. And yeah, so things can change, and that's a good thing. You want to embrace where you're at when you can recognize that. So if we want to go around and just tell everyone maybe the type of introvert or extrovert or ambivert that you think you are, I would love to hear from you because I'm doing a lot of the talking. So if you want, Megan, do you want to start?
I don't know. I feel like I am probably a mix of like a classic introvert and a social one. Like I don't like to be alone, but I also don't want to talk to people. So I just like I just need somebody to like be in my company.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think what I struggle with most is just like starting conversations with people. Like if someone talks to me, I'll talk to them all day long. But like as soon as there's a silence, I'm just sitting there like, this is neat.
This is awkward.
Yeah. So I would say I'm probably a mix of those two.
Yeah. And I completely can understand. Sometimes it's hard to start a conversation with someone, especially if you don't really know them. And you're just like, okay, what do we talk about?
Yeah, it's a lot of dog pictures.
Well, that's good because people love animals, right?
I know. Reliable, I guess.
Yeah. And of course, introverts don't really like small talk either. Like, hey, how's the weather or whatever? Like it's just too awkward for them. So in situations, if someone else could lead the conversation, that's way better. Yeah.
Mhm.
Anything else you want to share, Megan?
Nope. I think I'm good.
Okay. Well, thank you. Wendy, would you like to go next?
I guess I'm a bit of an ambivert. If I'm put on the spot, I'm good at taking charge, and I want to be the leader, but I don't want to be the leader, if that makes any sense. So let me give you an example. So like every Sunday after church, we have a house full of people. And I'm kind of awkward there. I mean, these are our church family, right? So I know everybody. I'm comfortable talking one-on-one with them. But when they're all here, I feel like I want to go in the other room and take a nap.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, but so I'm forcing myself to step out of those comfort zones and grow.
Mm-hmm.
But like to put me, this is great because I'm sitting here in my living room, but to put me into like a chamber of commerce kind of situation,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't know what to do with myself. Unless someone comes to me, then I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to be that initiator.
Yeah. So I have a question for you, Wendy. When you have all those church family members over, do you have a set time that they are going to hang out? Because that might help you too. Like, if it's after church, if it's like 11 to 1, would that make you feel more comfortable knowing that after 1 p.m. you can go and take your nap?
Yeah, well, it's pretty standard. I
Okay.
mean, they're here for lunch and then they usually stay here till it's time to go back to evening church.
Okay.
And so, but also they know that it would not be unusual for me to just fall asleep while they're all sitting here in my living room. So I guess that's a comfort level. I suppose if I'm comfortable in that situation, then it can't be that bad.
Right. I've done the same thing. Like when I'm done, I just like put my head down and fall asleep. People know that. Or just what we call the phantom, when people are over and they're kind of like overstaying their welcome at night, especially at night. And it's just like, well, my husband's here. I'm just going to phantom and go to bed, pretend like I'm going to the bathroom, but then go wash my face, brush my teeth, and go to sleep.
I like that.
Yeah.
Try it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you got this? Okay, cool. Bye. Thank you, Wendy.
Mhm.
Rich, would you like to share with us?
Sure. Like for me, it's kind of a two-pronged answer. Now, growing up, I was picked on, but I would say I was more of an extrovert. But I was misunderstood, but I really didn't understand it being as I was a young kid. But then as I got bullied, and I just became more of an introvert.
Mm.
And then, I mean, there would be periods when I would say more of an ambivert. But then I would go back to being an introvert.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I would have to say I'm like more of like I would say more of a thinking introvert. Like whenever I go to the store, I'll spend like an hour and a half there, and my wife's like, "Where are you at?" Because like because sometimes I take it as me being peaceful, because I got the family and got my son and my wife, and like sometimes I just need to get away.
Yeah.
So it's like it's peaceful going to the store, just pricing out things. And so it's like I say more of a thinking introvert, because it's like I feel a lot of times I'm misunderstood,
Mm-hmm.
in some of the circles I'm in, and it's hard. I'm the type of person, this is what it is. This is the layout. And if you don't understand it, I just get frustrated, and I just like, instead of me going to another place, I just like, I'm just quiet. I try to avoid arguments. So I'm like, yep, you're right. Even though I know in my mind they're totally off base, they're totally wrong. So it's like that's how I just stay an introvert, because I just feel misunderstood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's why I wanted to talk about this month, because the more that we can understand ourselves, we can see it in other people. And then we're better able to communicate our introvertness, maybe not in verbal ways, but maybe in a message. You know, if you're too shy or afraid to speak up and share that verbally, you know, like, hey, I feel misunderstood by you or whatever, you know, just let them know that I'm an introvert. You could even put like, hey, this is the definition of my type of introvertness, and I would love to have a deeper relationship with you. I know you're an extrovert or whatever they are, and I would love to better understand you and have you better understand me so that we could be more understood and have a deeper relationship.
And also too, going off of Megan's point, you know, like for me, it's like, if you talk to me, I'll talk to you all day long. But
Yeah.
once we run out of something to talk about, it's just, it's crickets.
Yes.
You know, it's just.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've all been there.
Yeah. So like I said, I just trying to get away, just try to, you'll see how I can get away from that. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Of course.
Victoria, would you like to share on your nice walk?
Yeah, I wanted to get outside today. I have a pretty
Beautiful.
packed schedule, so I was like, oh, it's sunny out. I need to get my sunshine.
Yeah.
No, I really relate to what a lot of you guys said, and especially Rich. I think initially, like as a child, I was very extroverted. Like inherently, I think that has been my personality, just being a young kid. If you look at like childhood videos of me, I am always talking to somebody, anybody, and I would just not stop. And my mom even said that too. She's like, you would just go up to strangers and just start talking to them and asking how their day was and telling them about everything in your life. And I'm like, wow. But I got bullied a lot, I think it was like around middle school. And I think that really affected me in not feeling accepted, understood, welcome in certain social circles. So I think I learned how to become introverted as a point of control and a point out of like self-preservation more than anything. And I think it stuck to an extent. So now I'd say like probably inherently I am probably still an extrovert, but which I'm not really still, I don't think I identify with fully, but I think if I don't feel like I'm accepted, understood, or well known in certain social circles, I'll revert back to my introvert kind of tendencies and kind of lay back. So I can be very extroverted and feel very recharged in groups where I feel of social people and groups outside of, you know, just Chris, my husband, where I feel really known and accepted in, you know, all aspects of myself. So when I feel safe, I think I'm an extrovert. When I feel insecure or misunderstood, I revert to like self-preservation, more introverted, more like I'd rather be alone than hang out with you guys kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's something I'm just realizing now is just initially being an extrovert and how that's changed throughout the years,
Mm-hmm.
and learning to peel that back and create my own sense of internal safety no matter where I go, so that I can be and recharge the way that, you know, inherently I'm meant to, in whatever stage that might look like.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you said that, you know, when you're in a comfortable situation, you're more of an extrovert. And when you're not in a comfortable situation or you don't know people, maybe you're a little more reserved because you feel the need to protect yourself because of some of the childhood stuff that happened. And you know, Rich said that I don't know that I was bullied. I guess it is a form of bullying when people make fun of you and call you names. But I know my older sister was definitely bullied. She was even like beat up by some boys. So she was the child that went and talked to everybody, but then was bullied and became pretty introverted and shy. So yeah, it just kind of stinks. But thankfully, we have each other now, and we can understand ourselves, where we used to be, where we are, where we're going, and hopefully understand others to have a better, deeper relationship with them. Thank you, Victoria. Patricia, would you like to share?
I sorry I was off the camera because I'm stuffing my face here.
That's fine.
As a kid, I was very shy kid. Like you would never push me in front of anybody to speak or sing or dance or doing anything. And even now, like when you guys sharing, thinking about my childhood, even when I was a teenager, I was always the person, like when my family was coming over, I was hiding in my room. Now I know why. Because I was never, like my mom always come here, you know, auntie here, grandma's here, come over, sit with us, any kind of holidays, parties. I always like to be alone, reading. I always read books. So that was my escape, I think, my little room. Coming to United States, I think having a second language, it wasn't helping me, you know, not speaking English at the beginning. So I was just smiling to people and they were thinking that maybe I understand what they were talking to me, but I was trying to figure out and translate everything in my head.
Yeah.
But I think being over the seas, living here for a while, I had to learn to be more in front. Otherwise, I would never achieve anything. And I think one of the jobs I have, my older friend, she's 60s, she actually was helping me. She was putting me in front. She was teaching classes, so she put me in front and she asked me a question and I was not able to speak out. Like I would not look at anybody's eyes. I was looking everyone around. She was really helping me. I'm so grateful for her because later I got a job that I was a leader and I had to teach and manage and people were looking at me. It was very uncomfortable. I'm still not feeling like comfortable speaking in front of the group. I feel more comfortable being as a team. When we work as a team, you mentioned you were dancing. I can dance on a stage, I can smile, but I can speak out, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm more comfortable being in a group when I know we know each other. We have a common, you know, conversations. But if I don't know anybody, I'm walking in a room that I don't know one person, I'm gonna sit in a corner and observe everyone.
Yeah.
I would speak to one or two people, but I would not come to anyone and start conversation. So yeah,
Yeah. So how long have you been in the United States?
18 years.
18 years? Okay.
Yeah. I also play capoeira, so I think this sport helped me also to learn to be more, you know, showing up. But during the class, I could do all the drills, all the exercise. But then when we play and fight, dance fight, I was never going in a circle. I was never going in. And, you know, my teacher was always like pushing me. And I was like, what? Like I was freeze, like you would not move me. Like my feet were frozen. And I knew what to do, but I was just like so afraid, you know?
Wow. Capoeira, that's pretty. That's a very pretty form of martial arts.
Yeah, I did it for 4 years.
Wow, neat.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I miss.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Maybe you can bring it back to the Chicagoland area.
No, they have a school here in
they
Chicago.
Do have one? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
But during the pandemic, we had to stop everything.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, hopefully they'll bring it back, you know, now that things are opening up.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can get back to that. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And so I'm grateful that you all were able to share with the group because, you know, I did say the reason we're talking about this is so we can better understand ourselves, but also others. And doing a little bit of research, you know, as I was preparing for this, I found that some people think that introverts are rude, or sometimes they could be offended by them because they won't speak up. And, you know, that's probably usually the extrovert that is completely loves getting outside their comfort zone and being around people. They can't quite understand why introverts are not the same. So I believe that that's probably why they sometimes feel offended by people, or they maybe don't want to hang around those people because they don't understand them. So that's why I wanted to share this, because I want us to better understand other situations and other people. So you can connect with especially your loved ones. But it's people that you want to hang around with the most, I should say, because sometimes our friends are more close than our own family members, our own blood family members. But when you're in the situation when you're at work, trying to work with a team, and there's like a few people that you maybe don't get along with, or they don't get along with you, or there's some unspoken tension, there's little exams and tests that you can take. I'm sure you've heard of the Myers-Briggs exam that you can take to better understand what form of personality you are. And there was another one, but I didn't jot that down. I'll have to find what little quiz that was to better understand who you are and how you can work to work together with a team to be a better group and accomplish things. Let's see, what else did I want to cover? Introvert. Okay, I think that was pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. So I would love to open it up and maybe have a little bit of feedback from each one of you about something that you learned, something new that you learned, either about yourself or about someone else that really resonated with you. So if we want to go around, I will call on you. If you have nothing to say, then you can just say, I'm good. So we'll start with Megan again.
Probably something that I learned was all of the different types of introverts. I just figured it was pretty black and white, like introvert, extrovert. So it's interesting to know like the different categories.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting too, because I just thought it was introvert, extrovert, ambivert, it's both, but it helps me to understand myself a little bit better too, knowing that. Yeah, good. I'm glad you got to learn something today. Something new. Wendy?
I agree, but I wonder, you have this where you can share it with us too, so we can dig into it deeper?
Sure, I can share it with you.
Yeah, because I mean, on the surface, this is what I believe, but maybe there's just more to it, because there was a lot of information there, so I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, I will definitely, I'll find the articles that I was looking at, and I'll share them with you. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great.
Do you have any like tips where like we have a social event coming up, like an easy foot in the door kind of a thing?
Of how to prepare yourself for it?
Yeah, even like I'm trying to step out and put myself in different places. So what's an easy way if you're in public to socialize?
So
besides showing dog pictures.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's a good question, because maybe, having a little, you could have it in your phone or something. You could show a picture and then pretend like you're searching for another picture, and you could have a few little prompts of ideas of like questions to ask someone if you don't want to just have that small talk, or if you want to break the ice with someone. A few months ago, we did talk about some ways to recharge yourself. So I don't know if that would help you before you go into a situation like that. So I can share the link to that video, and you can check it out too. But
yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, so that might help you when you're like, oh, I have to go out and speak in front of people, or I have to lead a call or network or whatever it might be. It might help you to recharge yourself beforehand, and then also afterwards too.
Yeah, because like for me, I can get myself worked up so that all of a sudden I have a headache and I don't need to go anymore.
Right. Yeah. You just
And
don't
that's
feel
not
good.
helping anybody.
No, no. I'm just going to make a note to link that video. Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Wendy. Rich, would you like to share what you learned today?
Yeah, just learn, that at least there's somebody else, that has the same thing, like, where there's radio silence when there's nothing to talk about. Because a lot of people think of introverts as like they're just going to be quiet, they're not going to say anything. But I mean, like I said, if you talk to me, we'll have a conversation. We'll have a very good conversation. But like I said, when we run out of things to talk about and we don't keep the conversation going, that it's just you hear birds chirping. It's like I said, I'm glad I have someone else. I'm not saying I'm glad that that person has that, but I'm glad that someone else I share that with somebody.
Yeah.
As opposed to I'm feeling by myself.
Right. Yep.
So
we all feel you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Victoria?
Yeah, I love this. I thought it was so interesting to learn the different types of introverts, and it's got me thinking if there's different types of extroverts too.
Yeah.
Because even inherently, like being born an extrovert maybe, and then transitioning to introvert, and then kind of back to extrovert. I'm curious, like, because I don't feel like I'm full spectrum all the way extrovert. But yeah, no, I think that was really interesting. And just hearing how everyone else has kind of like, even your sister too, Sabrina, how she like, flip-flop too, and how we can all have different baselines and different experiences that take us either further or closer to that baseline, and just a different experience with it. So I think that's fascinating. And I was going to mention too, Wendy, something I do. So I'm in the same bucket as you with like sometimes different, especially like in-person networking events. Now that I've gotten so used to doing Zoom, and anytime I get invited to an in-person networking event, I'm like, like I don't really want to go. And then what I've been doing to kind of push myself to at least dip my toes in the water is saying, oh, well, if within the first like 10, 15 minutes and I get there and I feel really overwhelmed, first option, take a nice long bathroom break, go sit in a stall by myself for a little bit, run my hands under cold water, whatever it might be. And then if I'm really still feeling overwhelmed, I could go home. That's okay. Yeah. So giving myself like break or exit strategies has helped me to at least feel confident to go in the first place and see how it goes before kind of creating a headache for myself, or whatever, feeling nauseous or whatever my body can conjure up.
Well, I love that, because you get nervous before an event, like an in-person networking event, and you're like, okay, I don't really want to go, but I'm gonna go. So that right there has you out of your comfort zone, just showing up. And if you feel overwhelmed, like you say, you go to the bathroom or you go outside or wash your hands with cold water just to like refresh yourself. And if you don't feel comfortable enough, then it's like, okay, well, at least I tried. At least I tried today. And if you do maybe kind of walk around and see someone that looks really friendly, maybe before you head out, you could talk to that person and just say, I was drawn to you because of your hair or your shirt or whatever it might be. And yes, that's kind of small talk, but it might lead to something, a deeper conversation. And if for some reason it doesn't lead anywhere, you just say, oh, I gotta go. I have to be at another meeting. So at least you're taking little steps outside of your comfort zone to see if you're able to overcome that. And sometimes we do that and we're like, okay, it wasn't so bad. Like, no, I didn't die. I didn't embarrass myself. I didn't trip and fall or, anything like that. So then maybe the next time it's a little bit easier for you to do. So thank you for sharing that. Patricia, are you able to share with us what you learned?
Sabrina, I was going to real quick.
Oh.
I was going to say, or you could trip and fall, because then next time it wouldn't possibly be as bad.
Exactly. There you go. And everybody would help. They might laugh because, you know, when people fall, it is funny, but you just want to make sure they're okay first. And then, of course, they'll probably remember you because you're the lady or the guy that fell. I love that. Thank you.
I just love to learn from all of you. It's my first meeting with you guys, and being able to speak and listen to your stories, it feels more comfortable that I'm not alone.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming. And I hope that you all can make it next month for the April. It's April 15th. Hang on. No, April 19th. Same time, same place. I did create the event page on Facebook again, and I will invite you all. For some reason, it won't let me just invite people the same people every single month. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or if it's just not allowing me to do that. I'm just glad I have it set up that I can schedule out the meetings. So I will definitely invite you all. And if you love this call, you can always invite a friend, or like Wendy did, her daughter, family member, someone that's close to you that you know will benefit from this group. We'd love to have them. And also, if you are willing and able to either write me a testimony on the call, maybe, you know, something that you learned today that you shared with us, or if you want to record just a 1-minute video, just letting everyone know that you had a great time in the Networking for Introverts and that you are introverted, but you're stepping outside your comfort zone to get to know yourself and to push yourself a little bit farther. So anyone have any questions or comments before we close out? No. All right. Well, again, thank you all for being here. And I look forward to seeing you next month and serving you in between. I'll definitely share these links and the other videos with all of you so that it can help support you.
Thanks, Sabrina. I really appreciated this today.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
You.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Take care.
Sabrina.
All
Take care
right.
all.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
Tuesday.
Yes, great
Bye.
Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.